Good evening, YouTube. This is Zach coming back at you from Sunset Island Railroad Productions, presenting you today a review video of the Lionel Amtrak TMCC-8 locomotive number 505. Okay, so in this video, I will be talking about this locomotive's features, a very intricate, detailed representation of its full framework and its sound features, as well as I'll be running it around the layout with my F40 and some amphiletes and some boxcars to show you what this thing really does sound like. Now, after doing thorough YouTube investigation, I have found out that there has only been about one other person who posted a video on this locomotive on YouTube, and it really wasn't a review video. It was just kind of a running video. This person has done the video with us pulling the superliners, and really hasn't done a full review of this locomotive. So today I'd like to announce to you that you are watching the first ever full-blown review and running session of this locomotive. Alright, so right out of the box, this locomotive comes with Trainmaster command control system, as well as the Lionel Odyssey system. It comes with two powerful maintenance-free motors, and it comes with all your fun rail sounds sequences with crew talk and tower comm. Now, since this is an older Lionel locomotive, you guessed it, it has road-specific crew talk and dialogue sequences. My favorite. And this engine also has directional lighting, and it also has electrocouplers on the front and rear ends of the locomotive. Alright, let's start with the full review of this locomotive. So, to start, let's start head on, which is what you see in front of you right now. And first of all, you could see the plastic windows representing the cab. You could see the accurate number boards that do say 505 for the locomotive's road number. And they do light up in kind of a yellowish tinted color. We have our, I believe this is a sand dome hatches, or kind of the tank areas right here. We have molded in handrails on the hood of the locomotive. And as we come back down here, we have our double headlights of this locomotive. Under that, we have probably molded in ladder steps that are about 4 ladder brackets that go down to the walkway of the locomotive. And kind of intertwining that, we have our Amtrak Phase 4 scheme right here. As you can see, the Amtrak name and / logo on the kind of blue stripe of the locomotive, as well as the red and white stripes. Over here in this area towards the bottom, we can see that there is separately applied handrails, which includes a chain that actually moves around when you kind of touch it a little bit. And below that, we have our air hoses and our kind of what people like to call the crab claw Lionel electrocoupler. Above that, we have our headlights of the locomotive, which do shine a very bright yellowish color. Alrighty, as we look to the top of the locomotive, we can see on the top of the cab there is many molded in plastic details that can represent air conditioning units, measuring units, or whatever, as well as any other units that engineers would use. Over here we have many molded in details that have text on them that you can actually read if you get up close to it. Over here is our horn, which I believe is separately applied, and our smoke unit output, which you can use to put your little smoke droplets in. And then back here we have another distinguishing feature that shows people that this is a dash, which is the slanted back hood of the locomotive with the special vents here. Already, as we come to the rear side facing of the locomotive, you can see that we have our rear headlights over here that do light up when the locomotive is in reverse. We have many molded in ladder detailings on the left side. as well as we have our number boards again for 505, as well as the wraparound kind of striping of the Amtrak Phase 4 paint scheme, as well as many separately applied handlebars and chains that would help guide a possible engineer figure up and down the locomotive. Again, on the bottom we have molded in air hose details, as well as under here more air hose details and our Lionel electrocoupler. Alright, let's start with this back part of the locomotive. Now, on each side of the locomotive, the features are relatively the same, so I won't really go through the minute details. So, on this side, we have our brake wheel. We have another kind of ventilation area. We have many special placards that you can read. We have more ventilation areas over here, as well as throughout the whole length of the locomotive, we have kind of a running set of handlebars that go up to the cab. As well as on this part over here, we have more steps, so that if engineer would be able to walk from the ground onto the locomotive, as well as we have another distinguishing feature that represents a Dash 8, which is the special type of truck arrangement, as you can see here. Alright, moving towards the middle of the locomotive, we can see that we have our nice Amtrak logo right on top of the red and blue striped Phase 4 bars. We have kind of on the bottom here our nice big metal fuel tank with other applied kind of features on the sides of the tank, as well as our fake little measuring gauge that tells us how much fuel is in the locomotive. As well as over here we have many very detailed special kind of holding areas for more fuel or whatever this locomotive is supposed to hold in that area. As well as over here we have many other molded in onto the fuel tank separate features that could represent an emergency shut-off button or any other gauges or whatever have you. Alright, to give you a head-on view of this special area, you can see that there is a lot of details. As you can see that there is lots of piping and springing and all sorts of action going on in this little area, as well as right here we have our locomotive bell, which is painted black. As we move towards back up to the cab of the locomotive again, you can see that we have our distinguishing Dash 8 type truck. You can see that we have our number 505 printed on top of the blue stripe. You can see that we have other types of ventilation up in here. Just under these ventilation areas over here, you see special posted very small signs that you could definitely read, as well as a F on the front of the locomotive, which indicates the front of the locomotive. Alright, to give you a glimpse of the other side of the locomotive, you could see some minimal differences, including the fact that there is no brake wheel right here. It's all ventilation paneling. As well as on this side of the very detailed fuel storage area, whatnot, you have kind of a little bit of less amount of detail on this side, but there is still lots of detail being exhibited in this little area. Another big notable difference on this side you could see is the GE logo, that black circle with the white stripes kind of going through it in the red square, with other readable placard information. Well, if you're wondering to know what the bottom parts of this locomotive looks like, well, now here's your chance. So, as you can see, we are looking at the front part of the locomotive. As you can see from the far right, we have our electrocoupler. We have a front-facing pickup roller, as well as a rear-facing pickup roller, as well as many gears on this side of the truck that would help turn the motors in the wheels. And if you wondered where all the run program switches are, you can find them on the bottom part of the locomotive. What we are looking at right now is the smoke, no smoke positions on the locomotive. And what we are looking at here is the run program parts of the locomotive. On the other side of that, you will find the Odyssey, no Odyssey switch on the locomotive. In the middle here we have our nice giant fat boy speaker system, which is what you could see here. We have two separate speaker holes, which means there's about 2 speakers in here. This is on the underside of the fuel tank. As you look closer here, you can see the Lionel engraved logo of the Lionel LLC company, as well as its factory origin, which says Made in China. Alrighty, looking to the rear of the locomotive, we can see that we have our rear and forward-facing trucks to the rear. We have our gear system that helps drive the wheels, and we can see we have our electrocoupler. There are no other switches on this portion of the locomotive, as all the switches are in the spot I just showed you, which is in the front of the locomotive. Alright, now that I got the track power fired up, let's listen to the sounds. So, with my handy-dandy legacy remote, let me start this locomotive up. Alright, here's the horn. And here's the bell. And since this is a Trainmaster command control engine, not a legacy locomotive, it does not have the continuous single bell hit sounds. So with that, let's move on to the road-specific crew talk and tower comm sequences.
Amtrak 505, you are cleared outbound. Amtrak 505, please hold.
Alright, that was the crew talk and tower comm sequences. Now let's rev this engine up to full RPM. Alrighty, now that I have the locomotive coupled up to some cars, let's run it around the layout.
Amtrak 505, you are cleared outbound.
Well, that about wraps it up for this video. I'd like to thank you for watching this Amtrak review, and thank you for supporting the channel. And if you haven't done so already, please feel free to hit those like, comment, and subscribe buttons down below. So, that's it for today. I'm Zach with Sunset Island Railroad Productions. I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next time.